All right, so now that we have this center line, we can basically use that center line to create a utility line. So I'm going to go to, first of all, I'm going to go over to my Project Explorer, and you'll see that under Utility Networks, I have a sanitary, a storm, and a water. We can just right-click and delete these. So I'm just right-clicking on them, deleting them. What we need to do is we need to create a utility network, and then you define the run. The run is what's going to really define your trench. Okay. So we can do either a network and then a run and then create the utility node and create the pipes. But in this particular case, we're going to use this create utility line. So first thing it's going to do is ask us for utility network. Since we don't have one, we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to call this conduit run A. Okay. The type is going to be a cable type of run. The layer, so I'm going to come in here, we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to call this duct bank run, and we'll go ahead and we can leave it on a white color, or I can turn it into magenta, whatever, and let's go ahead and drop it in that trench group. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. And now it's asking me for the run. All right. So I'm going to select the line. And I'm going to pick this line string that we created. The line type is going to be rectangular. And you'll see that allows us to pick this site improvement, right, which is the 18 by 18, which we have. So from the list, I have the two that I created in the earlier video. If I needed to create a new one, I could do it on the fly by clicking this button here and creating a new duct bank. Now, the node type basically is going to drop in a node at the beginning and at the end. Now, we have a vault that's going to go here, and we have nothing right now that's here. Maybe it is a vault, maybe it's a structure. So we can either choose a fitting type or a junction box or a manhole. Now, I'm going to create what's called a null, or it's really just a placeholder, because each pipe has to have either a fitting or some type of junction box at each end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose fitting, and you'll see here that there's no fitting for this. So I'm going to create a new one by going to the three dots over here, this button over here, and I'm going to go to my site improvements and my conduit bank, and I'm just going to create a new, basically new duct bank object. In this case, I'm just going to call it null bank end. Okay, it's just kind of a placeholder for me, and you'll see what I'm going to do with it in a minute. It's going to be fitting. Now you could use a manhole or a junction box. Fitting is a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to click OK. And it's basically looking in this case for a block. So we want to make sure that it's cable. And don't worry about the class. You can leave color the way it is. And the plan view block is, I'm just going to do a cube. And I'm going to do the same thing for my 3D view block. I'm going to go ahead and set that to a cube. So these are blocks that are in the project that I can use. But again, it's just a placeholder, so I'm just going to use it as a cube. For scale, let's go ahead and make it, let's make it 5 just so we can see it when it shows up. Okay. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just making a very blank fitting end. I'm going to click close, and I'm going to click apply. So what's happened here, as I zoom in, you'll see there's the cube, and there's the box now of our conduit bank. Okay. So now I can do the same thing over here. I can select this line here and keep all these the way they are and click apply. For this one down here, what I need to do is I need to change my site improvement type. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure the size of this. So that one is 5.25 feet, right? So this is a 5.25 by Measure this one. Looks like it's 2.16. Okay. So now I can come up and switch to my create utility line command. And I'm going to come in here. We're going to create a new box. So we'll call it box bank. We'll say 5.5 by 2.16. It's a rectangular line. It's cable. And again, our width being 5.5 and our height being 2.16 and our thickness, again, we'll set that to 0. Color is orange, that's fine. We'll click close and everything else is good. So I'm just going to click apply. Oops, got to pick the line again. So let me pick that line and click apply. And so I made a mistake, right? Not a problem. While you're here, if you go back to either this button or go to the MSI manager. So if I go to the MSI manager, I put those values in as, they're supposed to be feet, but I put them in as inches. But I want to to make this easy, what I should have done was put a foot symbol here after the inches, and you'll see the Business Center actually converts it to feet, or 2 inches. So by putting the foot symbol in, it converts it. Now when I hit close, you'll see now it basically makes that proper size. So I think also that one should have been 5.25, right? 5.25 feet. And let's go ahead and rename it. So I right click over here and I'm going to do 2.5. So again, I wanted to show you that in case you make a mistake, that it's pretty easy to follow and correct your mistake. Okay. So now I have basically the pipes, and you can see that it's 3D. It's following that that box bank all the way down through my run. And if I look over here, I can see that I've got these fittings, okay? And then each one of these basically is a different run. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to combine them to make it a single run and bring it all together. The next step to do that, though, is to drop in our vaults at these 2 locations here.